Before there were cities, before there were kingdoms, computers, or even writing, humans already existed. And everything began in one place, Africa. From here, millions of years ago, ape-like creatures came down from the trees and took their first steps. On 2 feet, a small step, but the beginning of a great chain. Around 7 million years ago, Africa was nothing like it is today. Wilder, more brutal, and there was no such thing as humans. But from the darkness of that age emerged a small creature, Sahelanthropus teichadensis, followed by Australopithecus afarensis. They stood only about 1 meter tall. Their brains weren't large, but they had one small yet powerful advantage. They stood upright. By standing tall, they could spot danger from afar, carry food, and hold their young. One step that changed the fate of all humankind. Time kept moving forward, and around 2.5 million years ago, in East Africa, a new species emerged, Homo habilis. They were smarter, more skillful, and for the first time, humans created tools. Stones were struck to make sharp edges, used to slice meat, crack bones, and cut plants. These tools were small, but their impact was enormous. With tools, humans began to shape their environment, not just adapt to it. As night fell in ancient Africa, danger came from every direction. Lions crept in the dark, hyenas tracked the scent of blood. And it was then that humans discovered the most powerful weapon in the early history of civilization: fire. Around 1.5 million years ago, Homo erectus, tough and skilled travelers, became the first to master fire. At first, it might have been from lightning striking a tree, or a natural fire leaving behind embers. But they learned to keep the flame alive. Feed it wood, keep the embers, move the fire from place to place. And from here, everything changed. Fire brought light in the darkest hours, warmth when the night winds bit cold, and protection from wild animals afraid of its blaze. More than that, fire brought a food revolution. Cooked meat became tender, easier to digest. Toxins from wild plants could be destroyed with heat. The energy in food increased, and the human brain grew larger. Humans could now live longer. Children were healthier, and groups became stronger. Around the fire, they gathered. They ate together. They shared stories, voices, perhaps even laughter. Fire wasn't just a tool. It was the center of something new: community. From the tiny spark in the savannah came the habit of sitting together. From sitting together came a sense of belonging. And from there, unbeknownst to us, the roots of family, tribe, and even nations began to grow. The nights around the fire were the first nights humans became social beings. As the human brain grew larger, they didn't just adapt, they began to change the world around them. Stones were no longer just stones. Now, they were sharpened, split, shaped into tool axes, knives, and spearheads. With these tools, humans no longer simply scavenged leftovers. They began hunting, brave enough to face large animals, from antelope to mammoths. Not with strength, but with strategy and cooperation. They made plans, stalked from the bushes, surrounded from all directions. And when the time was right, they attacked together. Each tool they made wasn't just for hunting, but for cutting meat, breaking bones, skinning hides, and even making clothing or shelters from animal skins. Hunting wasn't just about food. It was the moment when humans began mastering their environment. These simple tools became an extension of their brains, and the world would never be the same again. After surviving, hunting, and living in groups, humans began facing a new need: understanding one another. From simple hand gestures came sounds, signals, and eventually language. Around the fire, they gave each other signs to warn of danger, tell of a hunt, or simply show affection. Language didn't just speed up communication, it connected mind to mind. Now, knowledge could be passed down, stories could be repeated, and plans could be made more complex. But it wasn't just sounds. Symbols were born too. Scratches on cave walls weren't just scribbles. They were the earliest way humans recorded their thoughts. Pictures of animals, handprints, or mysterious pattern saw were the beginnings of art and writing. Language and symbols set humans apart, not just as living beings, but as creatures who think, remember, and dream. Everything began in Africa, but humans were never content to stay in one place. The drive to seek, explore, and survive this was ingrained in our blood from the very beginning. Around 70,000 years ago, groups of ancient humans began leaving their homeland. They crossed the savannah, pierced through dense forests, followed long rivers, and eventually spread across the world. They walked without maps, without compasses. All they had was instinct, endurance, and curiosity. They crossed vast, hostile deserts, discovered cold highlands, and kept moving until they reached lands never before explored by their kind. Some crossed shallow seas and reached Southeast Asia. Others headed to Europe, facing the cold of the Ice Age. And some even crossed the ice bridge into North America. Every journey came with risk-shunger, disease, wild animals, but they kept stepping forward. For in each step, there was hope, a new place to live, new sources of food, and a better life. This long journey shaped humans into resilient beings, able to survive in deserts, the poles, mountains, and even remote islands. The world we know today is tread upon by the feet of ancient explorers. Humans didn't just survive, they conquered the world.